Hello, everybody. Welcome to PM Talks. This is your host, Vicki Claire. This is episode 1, the benefits of project management consulting and how to get started. Thank you for joining us today. We live in a free enterprise country where we have the freedom to make a profit with our skills. For those who work as project managers, understand this is a skill you can apply to just about any industry. You can go into construction, banking, learning and development, healthcare, government, telecom, retail, etc. The list goes on and on. But once you're in a particular industry, you can also apply project management to any domain inside that industry, right? So you can work in IT, R&D, which is research and development, business, HR, you name it. Let me back up. Even manufacturing. I don't even think I mentioned manufacturing. So there are so many different industries, so many different domains that you can apply project management skills. It's just a needed skill that's here to stay. Now, there are people who are already working in that space and truly really understand that. I want to also talk to those who are aspiring to become project managers. If you are, it's a great idea. If you're already in the project management space, if you're already a project manager, hang on in there. And if you're interested, let me just tell you how you can get into this space and really do well at it and understand the ins and outs, as well as make a great income along the way. Just about any space you work in, there is a need for project management. Project management is applying the skills to plan and execute a project to completion with monitoring and controlling of the project scope and all the details about the project. So you want to make sure, hey, we understand what we're about to do, we plan it out properly, and we execute well. So while you're doing all that, you also want to make sure you control it, keep things under control, but you also want to make sure that you mitigate risk and you resolve the issues that may occur along the way. So problem resolution is definitely a needed skill within the project management toolkit. But let me back up even further and just explain to you what is a project. A project is anything that has a set of tasks to reach a desired product or service or goal that has a start, a beginning, and a finish, the ending. So those tasks and activities are in between the start and the finish. And so you understand what you need to do. You know, hey, this is my goal. This is my desire. This is my product or service that I'm trying to achieve. This is how I'm going to get there by doing X, Y, Z. And so once you get there to that finish, then you've completed. It constitutes a project. So you have many companies, lines of businesses, organizations that will have many projects to develop that product or service. So in order to implement, you need project managers, or they will need project managers to just oversee the work of many tasks from start to finish. It's required that project managers are much needed to just really manage all these different projects in order to deliver a product or service. Because you also have to keep in mind, the other part of the business is the operations of, this is what we do on the day to day. So operations is pretty much recurring, redundant work that just continues. That's operations. But projects will be, okay, we're creating something new. We have a start, we have a finish. This is what we're trying to do. This is how we get it done. but you need someone specifically to help oversee all that, to bring all the pieces together, to help connect the dots and move the parts along the way, which requires the help of team members. And those team members can consist of developers, testers, an architect or two, business analysts, the users, the stakeholders, the business sponsor. But they're your key stakeholders. But that project team will consist of the people who are actually doing the task necessary to complete the goals. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the business sponsor, maybe the IT sponsor, the executive sponsor, the people who are funding the project, they will have an invested interest to ensure that things are moving along. And so you need that spokesperson, that project manager who will deliver details about the project, the status, the updates, the issues that occur, seeking funds and resources to make sure the project can be effectively delivered, because you have the right quality skills in place in order to help you deliver those specific tasks. And those skills are achieved by hiring the correct resources for delivering those tasks. So that is what a project is, right? And how you manage projects as a project manager, which makes up the term project management. Now that we have a clear understanding of what project management is and what projects are, let me explain project management consulting, which is also known as project management contracting. So it's basically, yes, contracting your project management skill set to deliver projects for the contract, or just one project. It could just be one project per contract, such as it may be a government project where they're trying to modernize a system. So they need a PM to lead that particular initiative or effort or project. Let me use that terminology. So they will put out an RFP or a job description or a contract requirement entailing the details of the project and the requirements of the person, the project manager, to fulfill the project. And this is where the contracting and the consulting gets in the picture. So it's not only just government opportunities, but there are just so many out there. So I just wanted to just kind of touch on that it could be just one single project, or you may be tasked just to be a project manager of a specific area. But what I do want to convince you is that it is important it would be a better idea. It just depends on your bandwidth to take on those opportunities where you are specifically tied to one major project. So getting back to this terminology, some people call it contracting. I call it consulting, because you're providing your project management expertise to a client on a contractual term. Either way, what I want to discuss with you now is the ability to utilize your project management skill set and win contracts. Please understand, multiple opportunities exist to work as a project manager. I can do a search right now within Indeed.com in my city. And right now, I see there are over 900 project manager jobs that are populated. Let me expand that for you as well. If I search for a remote project manager position, just remote where you can sit anywhere, over 6,300 positions are populated in the project management space. There are multiple opportunities out there. Okay, so it's up for you to take if you want it. There are so many opportunities that exist to work as a project manager. If I do a search within Indeed.com, that one specific job board, which I really do love using Indeed. When I search within my city that I live in right now, over 947 project manager jobs are populated. They're returned from my search. So many to choose from in just my city. Now, I like to work remotely. So if I change that search and I search for project management or project manager job, project manager position, right, as the title of the position, and I plug in the keyword remote, over 6,300 positions are populated. They're returned for me to just check out. That is a lot. Can you imagine applying for 6,300 positions? I'm just saying, you have these positions at your fingertips. You can apply for them or not. You have options. So why not apply? Just apply for a few and see how it turns out. But I'm just showing you or giving you the point of there are multiple opportunities out there for project managers. There are multiple project manager positions that are available for you to take on if you desire. So next, what I want to talk with you about are the benefits of project management consulting. So let's delve in. Benefit number one, you will be able to grow your experience. Okay? And growth is what it's about. We want to improve each day. Daily, we should be striving for those incremental improvements, just trying to be better than we were the previous day. But as a project manager, when you look at that metric or that qualification of growth, you will grow just because you're gaining new experience. You are learning something new, or you're either building onto existing knowledge when you actually take on a new project. You will get something out of it because you will put something into it. So when you apply your skills to manage the project, to lead the team, to control the scope, to understand the requirements, to execute properly, to ensure that things are managed in a controlled manner, you will definitely gain some knowledge, some experience, some exposure out of that. Benefit number two, you will build your network. You will meet new people because you will work with a new client. Typically, when you take on a new project, it will probably be with a different client in the consulting or contracting space, right? So you will have the opportunity to meet with a new client, which is another organization, and there will be new team members that you will be able to actually build the team, help form and bond the team. The team will start, the team members you'll form the team. You'll have to go through a sense of storming because, you have to make sure. And the more projects that I work, that storming doesn't really stand out as much. But that just means there may be some initial conflicts of either the team members trying to know you and just receive you as being the person who will lead them. Or there will be team members that haven't worked together, and there just may be some conflicts regarding timing or just expertise or just a conflict of opinions. So you may go through a period of time of just trying to just work out the kinks. That's just to be expected. So your team will form. It will go through this storming phase. And then it will get to a place where you begin to get used to one another. and you understand how each other will work and what the expectations are. That is really huge for a project manager, to make sure the expectations are clear. And once people begin to become comfortable with what they are doing, what the expectations are, not comfortable in their performance, but comfortable in understanding this is what I need to do, and comfortable in knowing that this is my teammate for this particular project, and understanding who they are and how they operate as a person or performance, you begin to norm. You start to normalize. You start to really gel, right? Once that happens, your team can perform. So I just went through the different phases of just building a team. So it's the forming, the storming, because conflicts will occur initially, maybe not fights, maybe not that, but just getting to know each other and just working out those kinks. The norming, and then boom, you can perform. So with all that, in regards to just having a team and having a network, being with a new client, a new organization, and building that trust and growing and working together with them throughout this project, you have built a part of your network. You have added to your network. So that's benefit number 2. Third benefit, you will make more money. It's just what it is. You take on an additional contract, it adds to your income. It may even be more than what you are already making. So just keep that in mind. And the 4th bullet or benefit is you will accomplish another goal of working a particular project. So the fact that, okay, now this is another goal for me to work through this project and accomplish it, to deliver it successfully. When you achieve that, that is a benefit. And then just working through it, like I said, going back to benefit number 1, you are gaining experience and exposure to this particular project. You may be working on a new technology. You may be improving a process. Whatever the case may be, it is building onto your experience, your knowledge base. Which, what does that do? That gives you, that actually adds to your arsenal of knowledge, right? And then you can go out and conquer and achieve or gain other opportunities because of what you've learned previously. It just helps you to become a better person. It helps you to improve. You're becoming more knowledgeable in your space of project management, or you're actually learning a new technology because of the type of project. That's the beautiful thing about project management. You not only improve, and we can get into more details about just project management as the more we go through these different podcasts, but not only are you working as a project management and applying those project management skills, so every time you do that, you're just improving that skill set, which will take the skills of leadership, communication, risk management, team building, problem solving. Those skills like encompass, they make up the overall project management toolkit, right? So you're continuously improving that, but you're also learning about whatever that product or service is. You're actually learning, gaining expertise about that as well. So it's a great way to expand your knowledge. So like I said, the benefits, you are learning more, you're learning something new, you're building, adding to your knowledge. You build your network, you will make more money, and you will have a sense of accomplishment because you will achieve another goal by successfully completing that project. It also improves your leadership skills because you are leading a project team. So that goes back to just building on that experience. And it also helps it builds organization skills. So I can group the leadership skills and the organization skills within bullet number 1, because you're just gaining more experience, right? And you're improving your existing experience and your skills. So those are great benefits, right? Great benefits to actually get into the space of acquiring project management contracts because of just those 4 core benefits that I just mentioned. You're learning something new, you're building your network, you're making more money, and you're accomplishing. You have a sense of accomplishment. You have greater purpose in this particular role. Not that you wouldn't have it in a different role, but it is what it is. That is a benefit. Okay, so let's talk about how do we get into this space? Because we already know, I just explained to you how the opportunity is there because of the multiple positions that are available in the project management space. Whether you do a search within your city or you say, hey, which I would recommend doing it remotely because you have greater flexibility. So the opportunity is there. The money is there. And if you like working in project management or you desire to be a project manager, the desire is there. So what do we do? This is how you get into that space, or this is how you obtain a project management contract opportunity. Update your resume. Tailor it to make sure you highlight any project management work you have completed or participated in. Apply to the many job boards that are out there. I am particularly like Indeed.com. That is my favorite. And just, I would say look at those remote opportunities if you want something flexible, right? You'll really be able to flex your time with the remote opportunities. Let me give you a little hint. Or a tip, if you will. The government opportunities, the government contracts, they can really work in your favor because they are typically one project that you will manage. So, for instance, they may need someone, they are seeking a project manager to help them implement or modernize one of their antiquated systems, if you will. So there's so many outdated systems within the government space. So a lot of them are actually creating these projects to modernize and update their systems. So they will seek a project manager for that specific project. It's typically one project in the government space that you will manage. So that gives you greater flexibility. So step number 3. So like I said, number 1, update your resume, apply to the job boards. Number 3, reach out to staffing agencies. They are so helpful in helping you acquire or win those opportunities. They will reach out, let them know that you are available. There's so many. Just Google the staffing agencies in your area. You'll get a sense of which ones you should work with, who's more helpful or not. But they are trying to win the contracts too because they have an interest. If you go straight through Indeed, some of them do go ahead and post those positions themselves. So if you're out there on Indeed, when you go through a staffing agency, then you are, it's typically more than likely it will be a contract, and it could possibly be contract to hire, permanent position. And that's entirely up to you. But my goal, I'm in the mindset right now that I just want to work on contracts because it just gives me greater flexibility to going back to those benefits. It gives me an opportunity to learn about different technologies, new products, new services. I will gain extra exposure and knowledge. And it just builds my wealth of my knowledge, my arsenal, and my toolkit so that I can do greater things. It just makes me more well-rounded. So I'm not in a position to really seek permanent. I typically seek the contracts. Because it gives me the flexibility. But going back to how do you get there? We talked about step number 1, update your resume, apply to the job boards, reach out to your staffing agencies. Number 4, know the projects that you've worked in the past so you can interview well. Like, really get a good understanding. Just go back. Sometimes they've been way in the past, but you really want to highlight the recent ones so that you can really speak to them and show that, okay, you have the experience, you know what you're doing, and this is how you can help that particular client. And we will have a segment that will discuss how to interview well and nail your interview. I mean, you have to go in there knowing. Not being cocky, but being confident enough to know that, hey, this is what I've done. This is how I can help you. I can really help you. Because what these companies want, they want someone who can come in and help them get the job done. So you have to show that, like, I have this experience that backs up the notion that I can get the job done. Right? Now, I want to convince you that I can. And then you may have to go in there and show them, hey, this is how I solved this problem. This is how I helped this organization out. This is what I did. So not being cocky, but being confident enough in your ability to be able to help that organization and convince that hiring manager. Like I said, we will have another whole segment to just really break down how you can truly nail that project manager interview. So going back to my list, item number 5, do not be afraid to take on a new contract for project management. So it is what it is. It's like some people are thinking, I don't know if I want to do that. But again, this is about how to get into project management consulting or contracting. Is because, hey, I want to take on this opportunity that could actually be a 2 to 3 year long contract. I've worked contracts that were over 3 years. So it just depends on the contract terms. And it depends on how long you want to be there sometimes. So don't be afraid to take on the contract. Because what it does, it consists of project management consists of planning, time, and the schedule management. So what I'm getting at is, some people may say, what I'm saying for this particular how-to item is, don't be afraid to take it on. You may feel like, I can't do that. I'm already doing this. But what project management is about, it is about managing a project, properly planning the project so you can execute it well. So if you properly plan, and this is about time, you properly plan and you identify your deliverables and the dates that are aligned to those deliverables, and then that absolute drop dead end date, that finish date, then you have a schedule and you manage accordingly. So that is how you operate within a project. When you're managing a project, you will do the same thing as when you take on a contract or a project. You will understand that this is the work that I have to do for this project. You manage it accordingly. And as a project manager, you're not doing typically, you're not doing the task. You have a project team that will do the task. It's your job to help them plan it. So you manage your time. You understand your time and document your time. You know you have this going on or that going on. But you manage your time so you know that you can get that plan completed with your project team. And then the expectations are set and they are delivering the task to get the work done. And you're checking in with them. You establish some sort of meeting cadence to say, okay, we're going to have a status update meeting weekly. So you're checking with them weekly. And of course, there may be follow-up in between. But weekly check-ins is where you receive your updates because you've put in a solid plan. What I'm getting at is you properly plan and your team members will execute. You're monitoring and controlling to make sure the plan is executed properly. So it's about time management when you take on that new project or that new contract. Manage your time. So don't be afraid to take it on, because as a project manager, you have to be able to plan it out properly. So when you take on a new contract, you plan it out properly. Same thing. Okay. And the key to that, because project management doesn't have to confine you to your desk for 8 hours straight. What it does, it gives you the ability to own your project, plan the work that is required, and you ensure the work gets done as agreed with the team members, right? So, like I said before, the project manager is not executing the work. Now, there's some tasks you have to do to make sure you're updating your status about what's going on with the project. And you may have to attend meetings to give updates, but that information is fed by what your project team does. And if you make sure that they have a proper plan in place and you make sure they're doing the work, you will be able to update your status reports easily and report that information out. This concludes episode 1 of PM Talks, the benefits of project management consulting and how to get started. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next week on PM Talks. Bye-bye.